Hey, good morning, tankers. It's Stalker 13R, and here's another episode of Team Able. Anything but last. Today we're going to be in the T-29. I'm not going to talk about it because it's a T-29. And if you don't know about it, you'll find out the first time you see one. Today we're going to talk about tank rolls. Now, along about Tier 3 or 4, everybody starts to figure out that there's tanks that are good for spotting, and tanks that are good for brawling, and, tanks that, do flanking, like medium tanks, and, you've got snipers, like, tank destroyers. Well, as you get higher in the tiers, those roles become more fluid. And you still have people raging at the light tank. You go spot. Well, the light tank can spot from there, and in a lot of cases where you're top tier and they're not, you can see farther than they can. So you can spot for yourself. So they have to adopt another role. They have to wait till the situation develops so that they can get in there close with their autoloader and lay their alpha damage. So don't get too focused on what those tank roles are, because as all my whoas out there know, the situation dictates. So I picked today's game because, we've got our tank rolls a little mixed up on the backside of this ridge, and instead of pinging the map or going up and bumping him and trying to get everything sorted out, I just assumed their role, and we got the job done, and we'll see how it goes. So we're doing a encounter battle here on the Abbey, and a lot of heavy tanks want to go right up the one line here. Well, the problem with that is you're on the opposite side of the map of the one place that can end the game, and you don't have the mobility to get there if something goes wrong. So I'm in a heavy tank today, and I'm going to head to the back side of the ridge that's all the way out there on, the 8 or 9 line, the 0 line. We're going to be on the back side of that. You'll see where I'm going here in a minute. So there's a medium tank and a light tank, and one of the heavies are going to go behind that ridge. They're going to start pinging and calling for help. Now, just because I don't go back there doesn't mean that no one should go back there. But, if you've got more than 4 or 5 tanks back there, it's really too much. You just want to fight a delaying action and protect that flank from end run. Other than that, everyone else should go somewhere that they can be within 30 to 45 seconds of being able to reset the cap. Because they will cap out the game. It is a game of capture the flag after all. And just because you won't do it doesn't mean someone won't do it to you. So we're moving out. We're going to go to the back side of the ridge. And oh look, there's that light tank that shows up. Notice how Stalker 13R does not stop and zoom in and look at that tank. Light tanks can delay your whole battle line. Don't look at him. Somebody's over there dealing with him. And even if they're not, who cares? We've got a place to go. Let's get there and be in position and get set up first. Don't stop and look at that light tank that shows up early in the game. All he's going to do is delay you, and then he's done his job without firing a shot. So we're going to work this back line here. We're going to come around the corner. I'm giving this guy that's ahead of me in a TD the hey, cover me, hoping that he'll take cover in these wrecks here, and then I'll go forward and spot for him in a little gap between these two rocks that's up above, but he keeps pushing up. Now, just like in my last video, I want to get a couple of shots in on these guys that are moving into that brawling position where I'll end up, because that is my role. But if I can give them a shot or two here and soften them up, I'll be ahead of the game by the time I get there. And hey, I got one into him. Now, I don't want to stay here forever, but as I shoot and my partner there shoots, they get delayed. They get distracted, and we're going to put a little bit of damage in them. So again, I'm going to angle my armor here. Now, if I get right behind this wreck, I won't be able to stick my barrel out, and if I'm not shooting, what good am I? But now I'm starting to take damage myself, and that's not the objective. So they've moved up. If I would have moved up right away, there would have been nobody at the corner to brawl with. And the whole point of getting up there is to brawl. So I might as well stop and take a shot, get some damage in. But now I've got to get myself sorted out. So instead of picking the map and bothering this guy at the beginning and saying, hey, I should be out front, hey, you want to be out front, we'll let you. And then I'll move up now. So now we've got it sorted out, we've done damage to the enemy, and we haven't distracted ourselves. That little gap right there was where I was going to move to. Now I stuck my nose out here and I got punched right in the nose. That is not the way to take a corner. Stalker 13R shows you the do's and don'ts. Sticking your nose out around a corner is a definite don't. But this is a do. So we're going to do our best to do some side scraping. Now the T-29 isn't ideal for side scraping, so I'm going to angle my armor, and I'm going to come around the corner. Now they've got me in the tracks there. I was a little steep. That's okay. But now, look, that was like what, 29 damage, 60 damage? So the tracks are going to absorb that, and I put one in the rocks there. But my tracks are absorbing all but just a little bit of that damage. So I can take that exchange all day long. Because there we go, I just gave him, what, 2.5, and someone shot over my shoulder and we took that target out. So now, we've brawled, we sniped, then we brawled. Now we're going to sit here on the cap just temporarily to see what the situation is. Oh, we've got one more. Okay, we've dealt with him, and now I'm going to check the mini-map. Okay, there's only a few enemies left. They're up there in the corner, so I'm not going to cap. I'm going to go. But of course, there's the map pinger. Hey, you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to ping the map. So I send him a message. I'm on my way. That should be the end of it. If you want to ping the map once, great. If someone says, hey, I'm on the way, great. If they say nothing, they're not listening. Stop pinging the map. So check your mini-map, be aware of the situation as it develops, check it throughout the game. Now a guy up there on the ridge on the far side of the map, nowhere where they could affect the cap if it had gone the other way here, is going to start calling for help. Yeah, well, we'll get there when we get there. If we were the ones that would have needed your help, you wouldn't have got here in time and they'd have capped out and this game would have been lost. But fortunately for today, we won. So I'm going to stay hold down here. That was a T-95. I just shot a regular round at him. I didn't think it was going to go through his flank. And here's a real tanker tip for you. When you go down a steep slope like this, like I'm about to do in a second, you pull back on the tracks to slow your descent. But the risk you run on a steep slope is bouncing and going over on your top. So what I do is I pull back on the stick to slow my descent, but right at the bottom I lunge forward. I push forward on the gas because those moving tracks will pop my nose out so that I won't go over onto my top, and I'll stay tracks down. So that's a little tip for you today. This game wasn't ideal to make the point that I was making there, so hopefully you can envision situations that you've been in where somebody wasn't in their role but they were doing something. So that at the end of the day, the situation dictates. Support your teammates' play. You are on a team with 14 other people. 14 other people aren't on your team. So they're not going to do what you say. So just get in there, do what you can. Now you can see in a lot of games I like to get in there and get in a position where I can soften them up before they get to where we're going to have our engagement. And if I can delay them, if I can soften them up and still get there in time, that's a good thing to do. And the T-29 was a good vehicle. I really enjoy playing it. I'm working on getting my second star, so hopefully that'll happen soon. And I hope that this will help you find ways to improve your wins and how much fun you have.